The Las Vegas Raiders have made their move, selecting wide receiver Jack Bech in the NFL draft. And make no mistake, this pick has real potential. The Raiders needed a true X receiver, someone who could line up on the outside, win one-on-one matchups, and give the offense a consistent threat. That's exactly the role Bech projects to fill. Originally, Las Vegas held the 38th overall pick, but in classic draft day fashion, they traded down, not once, but twice. First, they dropped back 11 spots, picking up an extra third-rounder. Then, they moved again in a deal with the Texans. Multiple tradebacks can be a gamble, but if the Raiders had Jack Bech in their sights the whole time, it just might pay off. Now let's talk about the player. Jack Bech stands just under 6 feet 2 inches and brings the frame of a traditional outside receiver. He started his college career at LSU, not Georgia, where he had a strong freshman season with 45 catches, over 500 yards, and multiple touchdowns. After limited opportunities in his sophomore year, he transferred to TCU. That's where things clicked. In his final college season, Bech posted 62 catches, 1,034 yards, and 9 touchdowns. He became the go-to guy in TCU's offense, and his tape shows why. Bech isn't a burner. He's not going to blow by defenders like a Trey Tucker or Henry Ruggs. But what he does bring is elite route running. He separates with precision, footwork, and football IQ. He doesn't need to be the fastest. He just needs to beat his man. And more often than not, he does. His style is more Cooper Kupp than Justin Jefferson, more polished than flashy. He wins with savvy, not speed. In fact, his game reminds me of guys like Kupp or even Puka Nacua, players who thrive on timing, toughness, and trust from their quarterback. The Raiders needed a reliable X receiver. With Jack Bech, they just might have found one. Jack Bech fits the mold of a technician, the kind of wide receiver who wins with precision, not just raw speed. If defenses try to play man coverage without an elite corner on him, think a Charles Woodson or Jalen Ramsey type, Bech is going to win those matchups more often than not. He may not be a guaranteed NFL star, but he's got the tools. That said, it's fair to be a little critical of the pick, and we'll get into that later. When you watch his game, one thing stands out: his ability to separate through route running. It's the same trait that makes Davante Adams special. Adams explodes out of his breaks with precision, and Bech shows flashes of that. Think about how Hunter Renfrow used to work. Quick footwork, deceptive releases, selling one direction and cutting hard the other way. Bech has that same kind of craft. He's not a burner, and he won't consistently beat defenders over the top. But give him a step, and he can make you pay. He's got late hands, tracks the ball well, and has the awareness to pull in tough catches. He can win downfield if he creates just enough space. The Raiders traded back a couple times before making this pick, and you have to hope the front office, including John Spytek and head coach Antonio Pierce, had their eyes on Bech the entire time. If he was their guy from the start, it's a smart play. What really boosted Bech's draft stock was the Senior Bowl. He didn't just show up, he took over. Named the game's MVP, Bech finished with around 6 or 7 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. That kind of performance against top-tier defensive backs showed just how polished his game really is. Now, picture him in the Raiders' offense. You've got Jacoby Myers, a versatile weapon. Brock Bowers, the dynamic tight end, can stretch the field and dominate the middle. And now, you add Jack Bech, a clean route runner who thrives in one-on-one situations. He might not have the explosiveness of Bowers, but Bech might actually be the more refined route technician of the two. In this offense, he fits. There's no denying it. Jack Bech brings upside to the Raiders. He's a solid pick with potential. And at this point in the draft, that's what you're looking for. But let's take a moment and be real. Not every pick is a slam dunk. Bech looks like a smart selection on paper, but history has shown us that draft decisions can go either way. Raiders fans know that better than most. Over the years, this franchise has made its share of questionable moves, and some of those came at the expense of obvious talent. Take the 2021 draft, for example. The Raiders passed on Christian Darrisaw, a standout offensive lineman who's flourished in the NFL, and instead selected Alex Leatherwood, a move that clearly didn't pan out. Then there was Clelin Ferrell at number 4 overall, and more recently, Tyree Wilson, a developmental pass rusher, over blue-chip talents like Jalen Carter and Darnell Wright. Those kinds of decisions add up. That's why it's fair to approach new leadership with cautious optimism. General Manager Tom Telesco has earned some credibility. He gained experience with the Chargers, made mistakes, learned from them, and gradually improved. But for new assistant GM John Spytek, this is his first real shot at steering a draft room. And while Bech could turn into a strong contributor, it's too early to tell if Spytek is the guy who'll consistently make the right calls. The important thing is to stay objective. Praise good picks and question the ones that don't make sense. In this case, Bech looks like a smart investment. He was taken around 50th overall, and that's good value for a player with polished tape and a productive final season. It's not about hyping every move. It's about evaluating what's in front of us. And based on what Bech has shown, especially at TCU and the Senior Bowl, there's a real chance he could grow into a key piece of the Raiders' offense. We'll see how that potential carries over to the pros. But for now, the tape looks promising, and the pick looks justified. If Jack Bech becomes the kind of player he's shown he can be, then the Raiders may have found a gem, and John Spytek will deserve credit for that. One thing is clear, Las Vegas is serious about upgrading its offense. The focus over the first 2 days of the draft has been crystal clear. Get faster, get more dynamic, and build around playmakers. Between linebacker Jackson Sermon-Genty and wide receiver Jack Bech, the Raiders added 2 athletes who can boost production on both sides of the ball. Bech in particular gives the Raiders a potential long-term answer at the X-receiver spot, if he develops as hoped. That's the key. And as with any draft pick, his progress will be measured against the other wide receivers taken around him. Players like Luther Burden, Kyle Williams, and Jalen Noel, out of Iowa State, were all selected in similar ranges. Naturally, comparisons will follow. That's just how it goes in the NFL. Years from now, we'll look back and see whether Spytek made the right call or missed out on someone who ended up shining elsewhere. For now, though, this looks like a pick with upside. Bech has the route-running polish and physical traits to succeed. It's just a matter of fit, development, and opportunity. Sometimes it just takes the right system and the right moment for a player to break out. We've seen it before. Jaden Daniels had one breakout season that launched him into the top of the draft. Cam Ward turned heads with one strong year. Jack Bech may be the next name in that line, someone who found his rhythm at the right time. It's still early. The verdict isn't in yet, but the potential is there. Now it's time to see how it unfolds.